Mr. Harmless here, and we're going to work through our practice test for segments in triangles. Let's start with the vocabulary section. On this first question, it says what line or segment is featured in this triangle. That's the first four questions actually that we're going to try to answer. Notice this one has a right angle and it goes to a vertex. This is what's called an altitude. An altitude goes from a vertex and is at a right angle to the opposite side. The second one, notice the only thing that we're given is that this angle is congruent to this angle. That means that this segment is an angle bisector. It's bisecting this angle. That's the only thing that I know. So check off angle bisector. The next one, I've got a right angle kind of like this one, but notice this one doesn't go to the vertex. It's just at the midpoint of this side. So it's dividing this side and it's at a right angle. So this is what is called a perpendicular bisector. Number 4, what line or segment is featured in this triangle? Notice all we have is that it goes for a vertex and it's at a midpoint. This one went to a midpoint, but it did not go to a vertex. This one goes to a vertex. This is what is called a median. All right, the next 4 questions have to do where the point of concurrency, that's where 3 of those segments all meet, and there were special names for each one. So when we look at these, notice there's the altitudes, perpendicular bisectors, medians, and angle bisectors. The first one we talked about was perpendicular bisectors. It was called the circumcenter. The second one that we talked about was angle bisectors, and it was called the incenter. The third one we talked about was medians. Medians was called the centroid. And the last one we talked about that we didn't do a lot of work with, but the name of it was altitudes, and it was called the orthocenter. Page 2 of the test. Now we have to put that into practice. A centroid, the thing that we know about the centroid, it was all medians, where the medians met. Okay, so there's 2 segments it's asking us to find. The first one is BE. The second one is BD. That's the whole line. The only thing it gives me is the ED, this short part, is 6. This is a third of the entire segment. And so we said this short part is half the length of the longer part. So this is going to be 12. And you can find the whole segment just by adding these 2 together. 12 plus 6 is 18. Notice that is also a third of 18 is 6. So the whole segment BD is 18, and this longer part BE is 12. Next question. The other thing to know about this is that it is a perpendicular bisector. It's perpendicular, it's bisecting. But even if I didn't know that, these little lines say that this segment is congruent to this segment. So the 7x plus 2 is equal to the 4x plus 11. So now I just have to solve using algebra. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. 7x minus 4x is 3x plus 2 equals, right, bring down my equal sign, 11. And I want to subtract my 2 from both sides. 3x, the 2's are gone, bring down my equal sign. 11 minus, I forgot my x, 3x, right? 11 minus 2 is 9. Divide both sides by 3. And I get x equals 3. That is the answer to this question. This is one that you can get partial credit on because there's work to show. Next question, it says it's an angle bisector. So knowing that it's an angle bisector tells me that this angle is equal to this angle. So I can do basically the same thing I did here. I can say 2x minus 12 equals x plus 21. And then I can solve for x using algebra. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. 2x minus 1x is x minus 12 equals, and then I have 21. I'm going to add 20 or add 12 to both sides. I'm sorry, I almost said 21. Add 12 to both sides. We get x, that's gone, equals 21 plus 12 is 33. So for this question, 33. And that ends that page of the test. This is a median. PU is a median. Okay, it says UQ is 6. Find TQ, the whole thing. Well, since it's a median, I know that this is a midpoint, and so I know that this is also 6, which means the whole thing would be 12. And that is the answer to that question. Okay. Number 13. This point L is the circumcenter. Circumcenters is where the perpendicular bisectors met, and so that means that each of these sides is equal. So it means this side is equal to this side, this one's equal to this one here is equal to this one here. We also know circumcenters are the same distance from each of the vertices. So this line and this line and this line are all the same length. So let's see what it gives me here. It says list any segments congruent to each segment. So we're not finding a number, we're just saying what's congruent to it. But what is congruent to TL? TL is this red one right. Well, I just said it was congruent to both of those. So for this one, we need to say KL, and we also need to say BL. The ones that are congruent to TN, TN is right here, would be the one right next to it, BN. And so that's how you're going to do problem number 13. Problem number 14, these are mid-segments. The one thing we learned about a mid-segment, besides the fact that it was connecting midpoints, was that it's half the length of that third side. So if this is 24, this one's shorter, half of it exactly, it's going to be 12. So IJ is 12. This one, since it's giving you the mid-segment 6, this one's going to be twice the length. It's also going to be 12. All right, we have one more question. Final question, mid-segment. So we have this 2x plus 26. We did two worksheets like this. Now these are not equal to each other because this one is half of the length of this. So I need two of these to equal one of those. So I need two of those mid-segments to equal one of the third side. So now we're going to solve this. I'm going to distribute the 2. So I get 4x plus 26 times 2 is 52. I'm going to subtract x from both sides. 4x minus x is 3x. Bring down my 52. Bring down my equal sign. X minus x is 0. And we have a 25. Then I'm going to subtract that 52 from both sides. 3x, bring that straight down. 52 minus 52 is 0. Bring down my equals sign. 25 minus 52 would be, that's going to be a negative number. That's going to be 27. Negative. Divide both sides by 3. And x would then equal negative 27 divided by 3 is negative 9. And I just want to check, what does it say to find x? So I don't have to plug anything back in. X equals negative 9. And that is the practice test for this Unit 5 material. Hope that you do well. If you have any questions, please ask Mr. Harmless, and he will be more than happy to help you out.